When I was appointed in IIM, I was appointed simultaneously as a member of the organizational behavior area and also a member of the newly formed education systems unit. The education systems unit was formed by um, Ravi Mathai, Uday Parikh, and myself. There were three of us because the institute from the beginning believed in professionalizing management in all sectors of the society. Uh, it is with this intention to take management into other sections. The institute thought of forming a education systems unit. Though I was a member of education systems unit and organizational behavior area, I took interest in teaching a course in consumer behavior as a part of the marketing area. The institute had tremendous flexibility. If a faculty member had a interest in a particular kind of an area and has an expertise, the institute always encouraged. For example, I did completed my book on status study of population, and a large part of the outcome of that had something to do with consumer behavior. Also, I wrote a very interesting article for Indian Space Research Organization at the time on providing content guidelines for those who are launching communication programs in population and family planning and so on. So, with all this, it was felt that I could be of some use in teaching a course in consumer behavior. I joined hands with Professor Sasi Mishra, and both of us taught this course on consumer behavior. So you are a member of a department which is not called department, which is called as an area. Area indicates a broad kind of a guideline with very thin boundaries. And you are also member of an activity called education unit. And at the same time, you have the flexibility to offer a marketing course. I think this is the most beautiful thing about IIM Ahmedabad. The other thing that was very impressive was that most of us worked in groups. Like the education system, there were three of us. In many of the consultancy and other research projects, we again worked in teams. For example, the entrepreneurship development project consisted of a team of us, which included BG Shah from the finance department and Professor Gaikwad from Center for Management and Agriculture, Uday Parikh and myself from the OB area. And we also have co-opted some outsiders, one Shetty from ICICI Bank and one local entrepreneur, Rasik Upadhyaya, and we all constituted a team. And our job was to design and evaluate this entire entrepreneurship development effort in Gujarat. Not only that, it was at this time a health and population unit was started, and since I worked with the National Institute of Health Administration and Education, I was requested to join them as a group, and that group consisted of Professor Jayant Satia as the coordinator of that group, Professor M.N. Vora, Professor V.K. Gupta, Professor Baldev Sharma, who was there for a short while and left. Uday Parikh, again, I think, opted out after a few months, and myself, and later one Professor Nirmala Murthy joined the team. So this was another team on which we have worked. So teamwork is very much a part of the institute culture, and this was largely cross functional or cross area kind of teams. Another thing interesting was most of the senior faculty, of course there was no distinction of senior junior faculty. We only, I think now for argument's sake we call it, but those people with a large number of years of experience always teamed up with younger faculty. And of course that is the way I had the privilege of teaming with Uday and also with other. Subsequently I teamed up, I think myself, with Professor Govind Rajan and Narayan Sheth. Three of us reviewed the organizational structure of Bank of Baroda. It was a great kind of an experience and so on. So teamwork, I think I must say, is a very, very important and integral part of IIM Ahmedabad. Teamwork also comes into picture when you run executive development programs which cut across areas. While as a member of organizational behavior area, I was offering programs on managing motivation. Like we didn't have at that point of time any residential facilities here. Most of the time the programs used to be held in either Clark's, Jaipur or in Agra. And the three-tier program is the most famous program of IIM Ahmedabad. And I also taught in the program, and whenever I taught, I used to go to Jaipur or Agra used to have about 4 to 5 classes. That means if there are 2 sections, 2 classes in a day, and the rest of the time you're free. So you sit in your colleagues' classes and learn. So I used to sit in Professor Rangarajan's classes, Professor Vyas' classes, or any other professor's classes, and acquire a little bit of understanding of other non-OB kind of inputs. Like I learned a little bit of economics, a little bit on operations management, a little bit of marketing, and so on. So this was a very interesting kind of culture that IIM Ahmedabad had, where younger faculty work with senior experienced faculty, and they sit in each other's classes and learn from each one and design programs together and so on. I think all this was possible because of the peer culture and collegiate kind of an atmosphere in this place. Not only that, youngsters were encouraged to participate in critical activities of the institute. I was given full freedom to do whatever I want to do in the education systems unit. However, I could not do whatever I want to do simply because there were the other two very experienced colleagues, Ravi Mathai and Uday Parikh. At one point of time, I remember going to the dean planning with a list of programs I want to offer. And the dean at the time was Dr. Rangarajan. So he was not very sure if I am doing the right thing or not. He said, wait TV, let me check with the education system unit coordinator, Mathai and Parikh, and I'll come back to you. He walked up to Ravi Mathai's room, spent about half an hour. He came back and didn't say a word to me. And I was very surprised. I wanted to ask him that what is your decision? He said, no, it's okay. I mean, you do what you think is the most appropriate point to do. And when I discussed it with Ravi, Ravi thought for a while and he said, well, these are all very interesting programs. Only thing you'll have to do, you'll look at it is this, or to what extent these programs are going to be fitting with the mission of the Institute of Professionalizing Management. It is entirely your choice, TV. If you think these are good, just go ahead and do it. And that was the kind of a encouraging response that by and large even seniors had. Of course, I didn't have much of an opportunity to do what I wanted to do, because as I started working with Ravi Mathai, we got so involved in the educational innovations in Rajasthan project, which later became the Javaja project. I didn't have much of an opportunity to pursue all, I can say, crazy ideas I had. For example, one of the crazy ideas was that I wanted to start in those days something on programmed instruction or educational technology sessions for educationists, which may not have exactly fitted into the education management. But I think subsequently, I think the whole life took different direction, because the mission or whatever vision we articulated for the education group, that the education group should bring change in the university system, in the higher education system, in the primary and secondary education. We should be doing quite a bit of change management programs, etc., and help organizations preparing themselves for autonomy. And they overtook my my interests, and I think they became my new interests at the IIM Ahmedabad. So the point about the IIM's influence on any younger faculty is it gives you freedom, it enables you to work like a team member, gives you enough of choices. You don't have to worry about your designation and other kind of things. It is a real good example of what we call as an OCTAPACE culture. Openness, free to express your views and opinions. Collaboration, you always work in teams. You are trusted, you have to prove to be trustworthy. You can take initiative, and when you do, many things happen. Sky is the limit for somebody who wants to do anything. Autonomy is there. Every job, all that you need to do is 6 unit equivalents of work, of which or if you choose to teach, you teach all 6 units. If you want to do 2 units of research, you're most welcome to do 2 units of research and 4 units of teaching. But some essential courses that are meant for the postgraduate program and doctoral program have to be manned. And if the institute may suggest that you also do some administration, and working in a management school, if you can do some administration and prove that you can also be a good manager of an activity, like a postgraduate program or a doctoral program, etc. It will be nothing like that. In my work at the institute, I got an opportunity to build the public systems group, a new group that was started. I was the second chairperson of that particular group. The first one was Professor Satya. Then I reviewed the postgraduate program a few years later, and I was then asked to implement by becoming the postgraduate program chairman. Then I was the fellow program chairman. I also was for some time coordinator of the Ravi Mathai Center, and so on. So I think the OCTAPACE, openness, collaboration, trust, autonomy, proactivity, confrontation, authenticity, and experimentation is all live examples at IIM Ahmedabad. And also continuous opportunity to learn is again a great kind of culture at the institute and so on. I hope, friends, this narration gives you enough of inputs to assess the culture of an institution, and such culture of institutions like IIM Ahmedabad helps people to discover the human possibilities. Human being is a great resource and a possibility. So we grow only when we have a nurturing kind of a culture like that of IIM Ahmedabad. There are many such institutions, and my objective of communicating my experience of IIM is to help some of you to promote this kind of a culture and give best opportunities for youngsters in your organizations and institutions so that they can make a lot of difference.